delve into one book daily, and today we're diving into Walden. Haven't you ever woken up abruptly to your alarm clock in the morning, suddenly overcome with confusion? Swept along by piles of emails, endless meetings, and comparisons on social media, you hurry forward faster and faster, yet the emptiness in your heart grows deeper and deeper. We frantically chase success as defined by the world, amassing more wealth, pursuing a more glamorous life, only to sit alone late at night and ask yourself, is this really the life I want? We're growing increasingly distant from nature and even more unfamiliar with our own inner selves, losing the ability to pause and feel the true essence of life amidst the rush. Walden is Henry David Thoreau's wake-up call to everyone lost in the noise. This work, born in 19th century America, still strikes straight at the spiritual predicaments of modern people after a century, offering a spiritual home to anchor our souls. Thoreau's life could have followed a conventional path. A Harvard graduate with solid knowledge and a good social circle, he was both a student and friend of the renowned writer Ralph Waldo Emerson. He could have easily used his talents to enter mainstream society and enjoy a decent life. But after witnessing firsthand the erosion of nature by industrial civilization and the way people were enslaved by material desires, the doubts in his heart grew stronger. Why must we be crushed by the burdens of life? This doubt drove him to make a bold decision, to escape the city, return to the wilderness, and explore the essence of life. In March 1845, Thoreau arrived at Walden Pond with just an axe. He chose a spot in the woods by the lake, cut down pines and oaks with his own hands, and built a small cabin bit by bit. The cabin was tiny, barely enough to fit a bed, a table, and a chair. No elaborate decorations, no extra furniture, but every plank embodied his yearning for a free life. I want to live deep and suck out all the marrow of life, to live so sturdily and Spartan-like as to put to rout all that was not life. This was Thoreau's inner monologue as he built the cabin. He was not escaping life, he was actively curating it, stripping away redundant material shackles to face life in its most authentic form. In late spring, Walden Pond comes alive. Willow branches by the shore sprout tender green shoots. The lake shimmers with tiny ripples. Morning mist drifts through the woods, and birdsong cuts through the mist to awaken each new day. Thoreau rose before dawn every morning, first fetching water from the lake to feel the coolness flowing through his fingers, then tending to the small plot of land in front of his cabin. He planted beans, corn, and potatoes, tending to every step from plowing and sowing to watering and harvesting with his own hands. Working under the scorching sun, his clothes soaked with sweat and his arms scratched by weeds, his heart remained utterly clear. Crops grown on land tilled by one's own hands take on a different meaning. They teach me that we need so little to survive. Excess material things only become burdens. Thoreau wrote this insight in his journal. In contrast to those who toiled day and night, exhausted by the pursuit of more wealth, he found inner peace in simple labor. Summer at Walden Pond is bustling. Afternoon sunlight filters through the leaves, casting dappled shadows on the ground. Cicadas chirp endlessly. Frogs sing loudly in the grass by the lake, and fish swim freely in the water. Thoreau often sat on the steps of his cabin, reading quietly with a book in hand, or put down the book to simply observe the world around him. An ant dragging food several times its weight, forging ahead with difficulty yet perseverance. A butterfly fluttering among flowers, savoring the sweetness of nectar. Clouds drifting slowly across the sky, shifting into countless shapes. He did not chase efficiency or rush toward goals. He simply immersed himself fully in the present moment. We are always in a hurry to chase distant scenery, yet we overlook the beauty right in front of us. In truth, the poetry of life lies in these trivial moments. This state of harmony with nature stood in stark contrast to the prevalent value of working hard to make money and accumulate wealth in American society at that time. A society where people lost the present entirely in their pursuit of the future. As autumn arrives, Walden Pond dons a golden gown. Trees along the shore shed their green leaves, blushing with orange and gold. Fallen leaves drift down with the wind, carpeting the ground softly, and the lake water becomes clearer than ever, revealing pebbles and fish at the bottom. Thoreau harvested his crops, enough to see him through the cold winter. He kept some beans for seeds, traded a portion in town for a few daily necessities, and gave the rest to nearby villagers. He did not pursue material prosperity. Satisfaction came from meeting his basic needs. The amount of wealth one has is never a measure of happiness. Inner abundance is true prosperity. By this time, Thoreau had long broken free from material constraints. His joy came from nature's gifts and inner peace, not external possessions. Winter at Walden Pond is quiet and solemn. The lake freezes over with a thick layer of ice, like a vast mirror reflecting the clear blue sky and bright white clouds. When snow falls, the entire world is covered in white, silent and pristine. Thoreau's cabin was simple and bitterly cold in winter. He had to gather firewood to keep warm and endure the piercing wind. Yet he never complained. Instead, he cherished the tranquility of solitude. He walked on the frozen lake, listening to the crisp sound of ice cracking under his feet. At night, he lit a candle and wrote by its warm light, recording his thoughts on life, nature, and existence. Cold makes me cherish warmth more deeply. Solitude helps me understand myself better. In silence, I can hear the voice of my heart and see clearly what I truly want. Unlike those in the city who felt lonely even amidst crowds, Thoreau found himself in solitude and gained strength in silence. Thoreau was not completely isolated during his time at Walden Pond. Friends visited occasionally, and he would treat them to simple meals, chatting with them in front of the cabin and sharing his observations and insights. Emerson came many times, discussing philosophy, literature, and life with him. But Thoreau always maintained an independent stance, never relying on others, never conforming to the world. Once, townspeople mocked him for abandoning a decent life for such a primitive existence. Thoreau remained unperturbed. Everyone has the right to choose their own way of life. I simply chose what suits me best. Those who mock me may be the ones enslaved by life. He knew clearly that his choice was not to be eccentric, but to pursue truth and live as his authentic self. 2 years and 2 months later, Thoreau left Walden Pond. It was not because he could not bear the solitary life, but because he had completed his exploration. He returned to town life with the insights and reflections gained by the lake, but he was no longer the confused young man who had struggled with the world. His heart was firmer, and he knew exactly what kind of life he wanted. He continued to live simply, refusing to be trapped by material desires, and always upheld his pursuit of the spiritual world. I left Walden Pond as I came, by choice. I have experienced the life I wanted to live. Now, I am ready to embark on a new journey. Thoreau's departure was not an escape, but a return to life armed with growth and wisdom. During this solitary experience, Thoreau recorded the changing seasons of Walden Pond with delicate prose, as well as his own psychological journey. From his initial doubts and escape from the world, to finding inner peace through labor in nature, and finally, to understanding himself and strengthening his beliefs in solitude, Thoreau completed a journey of self-redemption. He proved through his own practice that life does not have to be overcrowded or filled with material things. A simple life can still possess a rich spiritual world. This attitude toward life stood in sharp contrast to the social climate of 19th century America, where industrialization drove a focus on material growth at the expense of spiritual needs, and it remains a beacon for lost souls in later generations. Thoreau detailed his living expenses in the book. Building the cabin cost less than $30, and his annual living expenses were only a few dozen dollars. With concrete numbers, he showed people that the material things needed for survival are surprisingly few. We feel exhausted because we carry too many unnecessary burdens. Chasing bigger houses, better cars, and more glamorous lives, we work frantically, sacrificing time with family and opportunities to enjoy life, only to lose ourselves in the pursuit. The mass of men lead lives of quiet desperation. What is called resignation is confirmed desperation. This was Thoreau's incisive summary of people's lives at that time, and a profound warning for modern people. In observing nature, he also comprehended the true meaning of life. Watching ants strive for survival, trees endure harsh winds, and the endless cycle of seasons, he realized that the meaning of life lies not in gain and possession, but in experience and growth. Nature is the best teacher. It teaches us to respect life, to accept, and to let things be. Thoreau's thoughts transcended his personal experiences, rising to a philosophical level about life, nature, and human society, making Walden not just a collection of essays, but a profound work of wisdom. Thoreau's solitary sojourn by Walden Pond was ultimately a quest for the essence of life, a spiritual rebellion against a superficial and restless world. The core theme of Walden is never to encourage everyone to flee the city and retreat to the mountains. Rather, it reminds us that in an age of growing material abundance, we must uphold our spiritual pursuits, resist being enslaved by material desires, and find our own rhythm and meaning in life. Since the Industrial Revolution, human society has witnessed unprecedented progress in material civilization. As a leader of industrialization, America saw an increasing frenzy for wealth. This trend continues today. Amid globalization, a fast-paced, high-pressure lifestyle has become the norm for modern people. We are trapped by KPIs, manipulated by consumerism, and swept along by the perfect lives portrayed on social media, constantly chasing the next goal without ever pausing to ask, do we really need these things? Have we lost ourselves in the pursuit? Thoreau answered this question a century ago. Material prosperity cannot fill spiritual emptiness. Only a simple life allows us to see our innermost desires clearly. The root of vanity and desire lies in our misunderstanding of self-worth. We often measure our value by external possessions, the size of our house, the brand of our car, the quality of our clothes. This perception traps us in endless comparison and anxiety, never feeling satisfied. Through his own practice, Thoreau showed us that self-worth is not achieved through external possessions, but through inner richness and growth. During his time at Walden Pond, he had no fancy clothes or great wealth, yet he elevated his self-worth through his connection with nature, his reflections, and his writing. The enlightenment this book offers to modern people is hidden in every delicate passage. It tells us to learn to slow down. Amid the rush of life, set aside time for yourself and for nature. Feel the warmth of the sun, listen to the softness of the wind, watch a flower bloom, and spend time with loved ones. Slowing down is not laziness or escape. It is a way to better feel life and find inner balance. Like Thoreau at Walden Pond, we can settle our minds and clarify our direction in a slower pace of life. It also teaches us to simplify our lives. Simplify our possessions, let go of unnecessary things, and free ourselves from material chains. Simplify our social circles, distance ourselves from draining relationships, and cherish those who truly matter. Simplify our desires, abandon unrealistic pursuits, and focus on what our hearts truly want. Simplification is not an ascetic life. It is about devoting our time and energy to what is meaningful, making life purer and more abundant. At the same time, Walden reminds us to respect and return to nature. As industrialization and urbanization accelerate, our distance from nature grows wider, and problems such as environmental pollution and ecological destruction become increasingly severe. The Walden Pond Thoreau depicted is nature in its most authentic form, pure, beautiful, and full of vitality. His love and reverence for nature urge us to respect, protect, and live in harmony with nature. For nature is not only our home for survival, but also our spiritual refuge. When we are tired and confused, returning to nature always brings healing and strength. Thoreau's attitude toward life also offers a way to combat anxiety. Most modern anxiety stems from uncertainty about the future and dissatisfaction with the present. Thoreau teaches us to live in the moment, focus on every small thing in front of us, cherish each present moment, and let go of worries about the past and anxiety about the future. When we fully immerse ourselves in the present, anxiety fades away naturally. Like Thoreau at Walden Pond, we can find inner peace by tending to our work, reading, and observing nature with intention. Walden is not a manual for life, but a mirror. It reflects the desires and confusion in our hearts, as well as our longing for a pure life. It tells us that no matter how times change, the essence of life remains unchanged. Inner abundance is true happiness, and staying true to ourselves is the only way to live a meaningful life. We may not be able to build a cabin by a lake and live in solitude for 2 years like Thoreau, but we can reserve a piece of pure land for our souls in our daily lives. On a tiring workday, take 10 minutes to look out the window. On a weekend morning, put down your phone and read a favorite book. In your free time, walk into nature and feel the vitality of plants and trees. What Walden gives us is not the courage to escape reality, but the clarity to face life head-on, and the strength to stay true to ourselves amidst the noise. It reminds us that the beauty of life never comes from external material accumulation, but from inner peace and abundance. No summary can replace the original work. A good book is worth reading page by page. I'm Paper Campfire. If you like it, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and I look forward to our next encounter.